Before we dive into the game of the year, I just wanted to point out that Rachel could be Carrie's daughter from the Stephen King Carrie. I mean, both characters get covered in blood and will need a extreme shower to wash it off. House of Ashes is the third installment in the Dark Pictures anthology game series and is the sixth game from Supermassive Games overall, available on both PS4 and PS5. I think it's the first Supermassive game to uh, get a PS5 version because the PS5, of course, didn't exist until last year. So, House of Ashes tells the story taking place in 2003, where five soldiers, Rachel, her husband Eric, and Nick, who she also has a romantic attachment to. A rogue soldier Jason and Iraqian soldier Celine are involved in a American and Iraqian war, and what one day fall underneath the earth and discover a lost ancient civilization where they have to make their way through to if they ever want to see daylight again, and at the same time uh, blow up the nest of alien vampires before the vampires awaken and unleash themselves on the world. It turns out these vampires were responsible for the very fall of the civilization, and now my good buddy very kindly ordered me a copy of this game for my 26th birthday in October, and I cannot wait to play it with him when I next meet up with him and see what decisions that he would make and what he would do differently to me. Now, House of Ashes, I had 50-50 expectations for. I was not overly impressed with the previous Dark Pictures anthology game, Little Hope. If you saw my review, you know I gave that game one hell of a mediocre review. But I mean, even though I still like Man of Medan, it still does not touch Until Dawn. But my God, how surprised am I to say that that's that this review is going to be loads more positive than I expected it to be. That's right. I absolutely love House of Ashes. This. I mean, finally, Supermassive Games actually took notes from everything that was wrong with Little Hope and rectified them in this game. Heck, they didn't just make a superior game that fixes all the problems of Man of Medan and Little Hope. They even fix the minor flaws I had with Until Dawn. Me and my friend both agree this is the first Supermassive game to actually surpass Until Dawn as their best game to date. It is just a staggeringly good game. It's still not the best decision-making game ever made. Not going that far, it still doesn't beat Detroit. Sorry, but Quantic Dream are still the best Supermassive games. You still have a bit of a way to go if you want to rival David Cage, but House of Ashes was like a wish granter for me. It gave me everything I wanted, and it's the best experience I have had with a decision-based game in years. And what's makes House of Ashes a far more pleasant gamer to play than Little Hope, the previous one, is that there is no filler or anything. It immediately cuts to the chase. It is all action, never a single boring moment in the playthrough, and it's 5 hours long, so it's 2 hours longer than Man of Medan and 1 hour longer than Little Hope, and yet it felt brisker in pace because that's how much this game will keep you on your toes. And I think. For the most part, so the characters here are amazing. Especially Rachel, the character on the poster, the front cover of the game, as she's marketed as the uh, primary protagonist, and Ashley Tisdale does a remarkable job of playing her. I mean, Supermassive Games would be smarter to have Ashley Tisdale play more lead roles in their games, because Rachel is now officially my favorite Supermassive Games character. No kidding. I mean, I thought Sam and Ashley and Jessica were kick-ass queens from Until Dawn, but Rachel even even more so. Yeah, and and I actually think Rachel was kind of in the right for cheating on her husband Eric. I mean, I don't blame her. I will get to my thoughts on Eric in just a tick, but because she felt so neglected by Eric, he was not showing her the love that she deserved. He was never he was never there for her. So she of was way better off with Nick, because she made the right decision and chose Nick wisely. Well, if you pick her to end up with Nick by the end of the game, it's all down to the player to either make Rachel be with Eric or Nick. I always pick Nick because I just prefer Nick as a character and love interest for her, and but Rachel's uh, gameplay is not all about love. Far from it. I mean, she gets the greatest action moments in the game, especially in when she's in the pool of blood, and she's covered in blood, just like Stephen King's Carrie, and she uh, has to walk out, and she helps Clarice get out of there. Uh, Thank you, Supermassive Games. You finally have a a great scene with two female characters bonding and getting themselves out of a sticky situation at last. I and also she gets to take on the alien vampires with a freaking old-fashioned machine gun. I mean, okay, this girl ain't no damsel in distress, and this is not a B game any longer. This has elevated the game to an A plus, and and uh, and Rachel is extremely caring and compassionate to want to help Clarissa despite Clarissa's condition, and sadly Clarice is she's the only other female team member that goes with them on the underground adventure. Sadly, she is not a playable character in the game, so and even if you do choose to help her, her transformation into an alien vampire is inevitable, which kind of pissed me off. I mean, I wish there was an option to save Clarice and cure her. That's one of my only minuscule gripes, but every non-playable character has an inevitable death. You kind of work out that pattern as the game goes along. I mean, you can't save the Chinese guy that gets caught in wire. You can't save the soldier that gets shot in the Iraqi ambush, and you can't save a Dar, who's Celine's Iraqi chief, but you wouldn't want to save Dahl because he is such a dick, and unlike Selima, he just wants a war. Rachel's two love interests, like I said, and Nick is the most gentlemanly, and Eric, I am not a big fan of. For one thing, he looks ugly, and he's just such a creep and perverse. I mean, he will not stop uh, you know, uh, uh, asking Rachel, "Can I have you back?" He will not leave her the fuck alone. And I mean, even though Rachel told him no a million times, so yeah. I mean, and Eric's always been the hardest character for me to keep alive. I always seem to get him killed in my free playthroughs now. Well, he can either die if you alert Dahl and Darla shoots him, then he falls and gets impaled on a stalagmite, or Celine can shoot him out of distrust for the Americans, or he can get strangled by a ancient human converted alien vampire, depending on your choices. But yeah, I never get Rachel and Eric together, and if you go down the Rachel and Eric getting together path, then you get a flashback of Rachel and Eric later on. But if you pick Rachel to be with Nick, you will get uh, a flashback between Rachel and Nick, which helps the decisions legit matter. And Celine would be my second favorite character in the game. I mean, he is uh, uh, a Iraqian that all Iraqians should be like. He he realizes that their uniforms are getting in the way of what could be a beautiful friendship, and his bromance that he forms with Jason in the third act of the game is one of the best bonds that the characters form. You really want Celine to make it out of there so he can be reunited with his wife and son and escape this unnecessary war. And and Jason is a real hothead of a character. He's a kind of soldier that you would see in a James Cameron movie, and he's extremely reckless, but he does learn to grow up and take the situation more seriously as he befriends Celine and goes deeper into the alien vampire's nest. So even he had a compelling character arc to go on, and he was played by the exact same guy who played the World War II soldier in the prologue of Man of Medan, and Nick is played by Alex from Man of Medan, and Clarice is played by Taylor from Little Hope. So Supermassive Games, as well as getting new cast members, got to some of their old cast from their previous games, which was a nice touch. And I think this is the last Supermassive game to feature the creator, and I couldn't be happier about that. And this is the game where the creator appears the least, which was what I was hoping for. uh, and, uh, and there's also an option to skip the opening "Oh Death" song in the opening credits. I mean, the first two games never had that. If I were to rank the House of Ashes characters, they would be Rachel, Clarissa, Salim, Jason, Nick, and Eric. Yes, sadly, I also got Nick killed just a couple of times because I can never seem to do the part in the game where he and Rachel have to hide from the vampire converses ancient human, where you have to press those X things as to not move, and if you get just one of them wrong, you blow their cover. And I failed that twice for some reason, and Nick has an injury, and he gets inevitably killed later on, which is uh, which is kind of frustrating, but I'm working on it to improve. And uh, the game wastes no time throwing you into the action. I mean, Little Hope's first half was uh, the most boring drag of a game I've ever seen, but House of Ashes is three times more action packed. I mean, the first conflict between the Americans and the Iraqians alone happens in like the first 30 minutes of the game. Even the prologue is far more epic in comparison. The only thing I don't agree with the prologue is uh, there being literally no way to save the innocent woman who that shitty douchebag emperor wants the Garda to a murder. I always pick not to murder her, but then the other guard just chucked his spear at her anyway, which is just not cool. Why is there no option to stop that guard from doing that? I mean, come on, Supermassive Games. I thought you had learned from Detroit's prologue by now. I was willing to give you props for for fixing that issue, but no, you. Oh well, there's still a chance to fix it in the devil inside you, but uh, but other than that, that prologue with the soldier, breaking out of a jail and the Empire about to go to war and then fall because the alien vampires, descend on it. So I mean that is something that would look just magnificent in a movie. It felt the most cinematic of any Supermassive Games prologue. Now we've got to talk about the alien vampires. They are so damn cool as our main threats, and I mean they're even more formidable than the Wendigos, and I did not think that was possible to make a more terrifying villain than the Wendigos, but Supermassive Games have actually done it, and I mean, and the alien vampires get far more screen time than the Wendigos ever did. Uh, they are they get an action scene in literally every part of the game, even the first couple of levels when the characters are fall under the ground. Yeah, there's and the final part of the game where the stakes get raised up to 11 when they go down into the alien vampire's nest's lair to blow it up and take them out. That was one of the most visually stunning climaxes I have ever seen to a game, and the game even tricks you at the end into thinking that was the final boss battle, but no, there's just one more when the eclipse comes out and they all come bursting out of the ground unexpectedly, and the characters have to fight for their lives inside the home. I've often criticised games for not giving me enough and ending too soon, but this game is not one of them. And where the writing improves over Until Dawn is that if characters like Jessica or Matt would have fall into the mines in that game, they wouldn't appear again in the game for a good four chapters until the very end, even if they survived. So their characters were completely robbed of screen time and development, whereas House of Ashes is the total opposite. When Rachel falls down into the caves, as she appears uh, it, almost immediately after, and is back with the others for most of the game onwards. Thank you, Supermassive Games. And the visuals, while the most photorealistic and astonishing of the Dark Pictures anthology entries, do have one or two glitches where you see a weapon stick out through a character's face or something, but that was just a minor flaw in the animation. It does not take away from the intense experience that is this game. And the plot is far more interesting than A Man of Medan and Little Hope. I mean, of course, fighting alien vampires in an ancient tomb is going to be more badass than a ghost ship or a ghost town. And the soundtrack has more emphasis on heavy metal and rock and roll, particularly the rock and roll end credit theme of Oh Death. And while the gameplay hasn't evolved or changed so much from Man of Medan or Little Hope, you still get the compass to with a time limit to make a character make a decision. But what's epic is the combat parts of the gameplay. You get notified just before a quick time event comes up, so you have time to get ready to press whatever button it tells you to. And when a alien vampire is coming at you in slow motion, you get this liner that shrinks with a target as the vampire gets closer, giving you just enough time to react and shoot or stab the vampire in self-defense. Yeah, I wouldn't mind if they kept that style of combat for their future games. Overall, while no game is without flaw, A House of Ashes is easily the best entry in the Dark Pictures anthology franchise, and it's heightened my anticipation for the next five games that Supermassive Games have planned for this series. Just everything has been taken up a notch here. Great job, Supermassive Games.
I give House of Ashes 5 stars out of 5. Best game ever.
Finally, it's great that I can actually love a Supermassive game again, and it's increased my optimism for their upcoming 2022 game, and the fourth installment in the Dark Pictures anthology series, The Devil Inside Me. Can that do even better than House of Ashes? Well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And what are your thoughts on House of Ashes? Please comment and let me know. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please follow on Twitter and on Instagram. And I'll see you next time. And remember, movies are us. Bye, guys.